Hello, and welcome back. We are learning about tactical capacity, which you will remember is any behavior that is not a technically explicit behavior. Tactical capacity is the behavior that enables you to be a role model to your direct reports. It's the behavior that guides operational improvements, and it's the behavior that guides others through change. And it's the behavior that allows you to sustain excellence on the job. Organizational tactical capacity is born in the hearts and the minds of every single person that comprises the organization. In essence, it is the combined energies of all individuals at any given time and in any given place. And so, in its simplest form, it is the interactive behavior driven by individual thoughts and feelings. And these behaviors can only be achieved by honing your skills that arise from the core principles that form the three domains of the positive presence behavior competencies of influential leadership: self-awareness, collaboration, and connection. Throughout the course of this program, it's important to understand that you are being presented with a lot of material and ideas. Some concepts and ideas are very new, and some are not so new. Some of the new concepts and ideas will be directly related to your brain, how it works, and how you can make it work even better. You will also be presented with concepts and ideas that require you to take some very deep dives into your feelings and your thought processes. I have no doubt that some of the material you will be presented with will be met with resistance, and that's okay. You may also feel like it's just too much, and that's okay too. Whatever feelings and thoughts that you have, I can assure you it's normal, and I would ask that you just acknowledge the feeling, allow the feeling to move right through you, and then allow your mind to remain open. You will be amazed by how much you can retain and retrieve if you consciously practice opening your mind to new ideas. Today, we are learning the first principle of the positive presence behavior competencies of the connection domain of influential leadership. Dedicate yourself to continuous learning. Your success as a leader is inextricably linked to your ability to connect with people. You can connect with followers in a number of ways, but all approaches must be characterized by trust, meaning, and caring. Experiences or interactions that are more focused on tasks than on people are likely to be perceived negatively. Negative experiences accumulate and ultimately erode your connection and your leadership effectiveness. Positive experiences, on the other hand, increase your influence and enable you to sustain the connection. Positive experiences and emotional connections with people are what make you a highly effective, enlightened leader. The choice truly is yours, and in order to connect, you must be continuously learning to adjust and adapt to produce the most positive response to any given situation, the response that will result in the optimal outcome for you as a leader, for your organization as a whole, and for the person that you lead. The challenge is to create the necessary mindset that can and will adapt as required. Just as we train and exercise our body for physical fitness, we know from neuroscience research that we must do the same for mental fitness. The knowledge economy and today's knowledge society, with its complexity and speed, has presented us with new challenges that are specific to our mental health. So it is that we must learn to open our mind to actually train our brain for resilience and agility. The skill of positive presence, your ability to adjust for and create a positive and energized mindset through conscious thought processes, requires a focused self-awareness for a new way of thinking and being. It is a way of thinking that focuses on improving the emotional energy flow within us and around us, at home, at work, and in our community. It is a purposeful way of thinking and behaving that brings us life and strengthens every human relationship. And in the same way we exercise for physical strength and wellness, we will take a few moments to listen to a mini-med to exercise for cognitive strength and train our brain. So please, close your eyes and take a deep, deep breath. Welcome to the mini-med for training your brain. For the next few minutes, I invite you to sit comfortably and find a place of calm, peaceful stillness within you.
letting any thoughts and any tension melt completely out of your body. As you let your body settle in, and as you feel your shoulders relaxing and your thoughts releasing, I invite you to consider a visual representation of the neural pathways of your brain, the thought patterns of your brain. You might imagine them to be like roadways, or railroad tracks, or canyons where energy or water would flow through them. And identify in your brain which are the old thought patterns, the old pathways that you wish to withdraw attention and energy from, and then identify where the newly formed pathways are being laid. Two separate areas of your brain, like roadways or paths, one well-worn and one newly formed. Now imagine that the energy source that has been wearing down those old brain patterns, those old neural pathways, that energy source is withdrawing, like a riverbed drying up from lack of water. Those old, worn pathways are drying up and no longer being used regularly. The energy source is shifting. You can feel it shift. You know that it's shifting and leaving behind the old pathways. The energy is flowing toward the newly formed pathways. It's physically altering the way that you think and the way that your mind works. This energy source gently flows, softly shaping new thought patterns, new ways of thinking, new pathways in your brain and in your mind. This energy source is deepening the new pathways so that they will become your most well-worn ways of thinking. So now, take one more moment and imagine this energy source deepening and solidifying new neural pathways in your brain, gently withdrawing attention where you no longer like it to flow, and easily and effortlessly maintaining and shaping your new thought patterns from here going forward. Come back to awareness. Notice your surroundings. What do you see? Is there anyone beside you? Across from you? What sounds do you hear?
Undergoing a continuous learning process entails change. One cannot learn and still be the same person, team, or organization. There is a constant evolution in the way we think and act, brought about by new understanding, new knowledge, and new skills. One of the worst phrases that you or any other person can say is, "I already know that," because this can very well destroy any chances of continuous learning. And when there is no learning, there is no growth. This is a list of just some of the most commonly found impediments to learning. No mission to guide and motivate learning. Fear of failure. Information overload. Mistaking hearing for learning. The knowing-doing gap. Preferring entertainment to education. And resistance to change. Removing as many obstacles as possible to individual, team, and organizational learning is a promising way to begin to move organizations from the state of relative vulnerability with regard to continuous learning to one of resilience. Whenever you are training or communicating with others, You have information and ideas that you want them to understand and learn effectively and efficiently. Your team members are likely to demonstrate a wide range of learning preferences, and your challenge is to provide variety that helps them learn quickly and effectively. Your preferred teaching and communication methods may in fact be influenced by your own learning preferences. For example, if you prefer visual rather than verbal learning, you may in turn tend to provide a visual learning experience for your team members, even though that may not be their preference or the most effective style for your team to learn, grow, and improve performance. So the question is, are you being challenged to change? The problem in many situations is not that you don't know enough. Sometimes you don't, but that can be corrected easily enough through learning. The problem is that you think you know enough, and as a result, you waste a lot of time defending what you think you know rather than discovering and learning new things. This is the biggest obstacle an organization faces. You resist learning because you think you already know, and so you invest your time and energy defending your current opinion. If you are going to learn, you must be hungry and open to new and different ideas. As such, humility is a necessary ingredient for a learning mindset. You must be humble. For many, many people, parking their ego at the door is a huge, huge challenge. And know this, your ego will fight you every step of the way. So, how do you know if you're humble? What does it look like? What does it feel like? These are difficult questions. However, as you develop your own strategy for connecting with your people to influence a positive transformational culture change, you will undoubtedly find yourself humbled. You see, connecting with others to influence positive transformation requires you to be attentively focused on others, as well as emotionally sensitive of others. That being said, if you spend more of your time focused on task than focused on people, you will not touch the heart and soul of the people you lead, and you will not be able to motivate and inspire them amid today's chaos. Trust, compassion, stability, and hope are found by research to be the 4 legitimate needs of all employees. Sensitivity is an interwoven thread connecting all of these factors. Sensitivity is the common decency shared by human beings. Sensitivity is, however, a tricky behavior to master because it is necessary for all of your interactions with other people. It presents itself in major moral concerns and in minor decisions. At the end of the day, you must be sensitive to the necessity for positive emotional connection with every person you touch. Honing your skill of positive presence and acquiring the positive presence behavior competencies will ensure a humble journey to influential leadership. The path to learning is very diverse. There are any number of pathways to learning, and each and every one of you will have a unique path that is different from anyone else's. Theories and models abound, but at the heart of all the research is the understanding that there is no right or wrong approach. There is, however, just more effective styles and less effective styles for individuals, for content, and for the context in which the learning takes place. In business, using a learning style methodology can help provide a department and/or team with a common and consistent language within which individuals can state their needs. For leaders, trainers, and facilitators, it ensures that their sessions and learning interventions are reasonably balanced and likely to provide something for everyone. It is therefore beneficial to at least have a high-level understanding of what learning style models are and why they are important. An awareness of learning styles not only helps you identify the ideal learning environment for you personally, it also ensures that as a leader, you recognize that every individual will have different learning preferences, and no matter which model you use, you need to ensure that you combine a mix of methods and preferences. Understanding that other people can have quite different learning preferences, you can learn to communicate your message effectively in a way that many more people can understand. This is fundamentally important, particularly for leaders for whom communication is an important part of creating and sustaining influence. By understanding this and developing the skills that help you learn in a variety of ways, you make the most of your learning potential. And because you're better able to learn and gather information, you'll communicate more effectively, make better decisions, and choose better courses of action. Take time to identify how you prefer to learn and then force yourself to break out of your comfort zone. Once you start learning in new ways, you'll be amazed at how much more you catch and how much easier it is to assimilate information and make sense of what is going on. Ultimately, the biggest impediment to learning is simply refusing to change. So choose a model, any model, be it Learning Styles Index, LSI, Experiential Learning Theory, ELT, VARC, VAC, or DISC, and figure out where your preferences lie, then find out where your team members lie, and check that all of your learning interventions have something for everyone. The action learning model was first developed in the 1940s when it became evident that in the workplace, conventional instructional methods were largely ineffective to improving performance. The model today is as follows. Focus. We are living in the knowledge and information age. The problem is that while we have a large quantity of information, we are lacking in quality information that we can turn into active performance. Pay attention to taking in only the information necessary to you achieving your goals. Emotionally engage. We have already seen the power of emotion to drive behavior. Use this emotional leverage to get excited about and invest in your own continual learning journey. Practice, practice. You must commit to the hard work and discipline of repetitive, effective practice. Can you think of any skill in your life that you acquired that did not require you to exercise the discipline to practice? Mastery of any skill only comes with a great deal of discipline to practice. Do not equate hearing with learning. Remember the quotation from Einstein? Knowledge is got by experience. All the rest is information. Hearing is not doing, and there is no learning without action. So practice, then performance. Learn from success and failure. Failing forward is a concept written about by John Maxwell. The basic idea in failing forward is that if you can increase your numbers of failures, you will by default increase your number of successes. Maxwell encourages people to learn from their failures to prevent repeating the same mistakes over and over. How many times have you used the phrase in your own life? When are they going to get it? Take the time to reflect on your experience. Have you ever heard a person say they graduated from the school of hard knocks? What are you learning from your daily life experiences? Do you take the time to stop, reflect, and journal about what life is teaching you? Read. The quality of your reading and the quantity of your reading shapes your inner core, your beliefs, and drives your behavior. You may not realize how valuable reading a good book once a month can be to changing your life. Take your time and read for understanding. Reflect on your reading and journal your action steps for change. Before you start reading anything, ask yourself why you are reading it. Are you reading with purpose or just for pleasure? What do you want to know after you've read it? And finally, get a coach. Throughout your development as a leader, you will either create change or proactively adapt to change happening around you. In today's fast-paced business world, it's important to recognize you don't have to go it alone. A coach will guide you through the thinking process to help you understand what changes must be made to succeed in your leadership role. This process helps you outline steps toward positive change. Their role may be part investigative reporter and part sounding board to help you make the right business decisions. The training is in place to ask thought-provoking questions and provide valuable feedback to your plan. Remember that every professional athlete has a coach, and they aspire to such greats as major contracts or the Olympics. Why should your journey as a leader be any different? Experiential learning theory posits that learning is the major determinant of human development and that how individuals learn shapes the course of their personal development. Research has shown that learning styles are influenced by personality type, educational specialization, career choice, and current job role and tasks, as well as culture. Development is conceived as multilinear, based on an individual's particular learning style and life path. And the concept of learning style describes individual differences in learning based on the learner's preference for employing different phases of the learning cycle, which are reflective observation, which is watching, abstract conceptualization, which is thinking, active experimentation, which is doing, and experience, which is feeling. A link has been identified between ELT, experiential learning theory, and neuroscience research, suggesting that the process of experiential learning is related to the process of our brain function. Development is conceived as multilinear, based on your particular learning style and your life path. And the concept of your individual learning style is based on your preference for employing different phases of the learning cycle. Because of your hereditary equipment, your particular life experiences, and the demands of your present environment, you develop a preferred way of choosing among the 4 learning modes, which are diverging, assimilating, converging, and accommodating. By increasing your awareness of how you learn, the aim is to increase your capacity for metacognitive control of your learning process, enabling you to monitor and select learning approaches that work best for you in different learning situations. At the end of the day, it is critical to recognize the uniqueness, complexity, and variability in every single person's approach to learning. Individual learning styles depend on cognitive, emotional, and environmental factors, as well as one's prior experience. In other words, everyone differs in how they process information. One of the most accepted understandings of learning styles is that learning styles fall into 3 categories: visual learners, auditory learners, and kinesthetic learners. These learning styles are found within the VARK, V-A-R-K, model of student learning. VARK is an acronym that refers to the 4 types of learning styles: visual preference, auditory preference, reading-writing preference, and kinesthetic preference. The VARK model is also referred to as the VAK, V-A-K model, eliminating reading-writing as a category of preferential learning. Visual learners prefer the use of images, maps, and graphic organizers to assess and understand new information. As an auditory learner, you best understand new content through listening and speaking in situations such as lectures and group discussions. Kinesthetic learners best understand information through tactile representations of information. In other words, they are hands-on learners. Your behavior style preference that you identified in Session 5 provides context and impediments to your learning style. Behavioral style can be seen and described, whereas it is more difficult to assess people's learning styles. In fact, many people themselves are unaware of their own learning preferences. Unlike learning style, which is how you cognitively process information, behavior style is more easily understood and visible to others because it is a function of your common behavioral patterns and preferences. That being said, the following factors are important to consider when dealing with the various behavior styles. Applying behavior style in learning. Because one's behavior is visible to others, an organization, or for that matter, an individual trainer, manager, or coach, can offer resources that suit the needs of all behavior styles. Since this is their natural preference, they will learn more effectively this way and, in turn, will display new skills more consistently on the job. Next, provide learning motivation. Generating motivation and commitment to participate in learning programs is achieved by different means for each behavior style. The biggest mistake is to use a one-size-fits-all approach and develop a learning program that only reflects a single behavior style. This will all but ensure a lack of enthusiasm and motivation for some people. Next, the learning experience. Just as motivation is gained through style-specific methods, the learning experience itself should also reflect style preferences. Clearly describe how the learning program will benefit people back on the job. By balancing activities, the needs of people with different behavioral styles are being met. Reinforce concepts through social learning. When designing post-learning support, make sure the available resources reflect the spectrum of behavioral preferences for the same reasons the learning program itself should appeal to each of the styles. People tend to learn differently depending on their DISC profile behavior style, and they can have different preferences and priorities for working within the learning process. High Scale 1 personalities ask the question, what? What's the point? What's in it for me? What's the bottom line? Scale 1s will be interested in seeing a syllabus or an agenda for what is expected. Also, they tend to be impatient and like a fast pace. They have little tolerance for things that they perceive as mundane or unimportant. Scale 1 love a challenge and they like to be in control. They may question the trainer, the topic, or the training methods. High Scale 2 personalities ask the question, who? Who else is going to be there? Who can I socialize with? Who recommended this training? Scale 2s will generally be open to new theories, new ideas, and new methods of learning. They love to have fun and want to be entertained while learning. Group participation, where they have the opportunity to express themselves, is their idea of a great learning environment. Scale 2 will learn best if the training is short, fast-paced, and stimulating. High Scale 3 personalities ask the question, how? How are we going to learn? How shall we go about this? How can we ever get this all done? Scale 3s tend to be very procedural. They prefer to learn in a step-by-step manner. They appreciate a show, tell, do method of learning. Scale 3s prefer to observe the training, then practice the learning over and over in the presence of a coach or a trainer. The actual doing of an activity gives them the opportunity to get comfortable with a new topic or procedure. They are receptive learners and the most patient of behavioral styles. High Scale 4 personalities ask the question, why? Why are we doing it this way? Why are we expected to learn this? Why are we using this training method? Scale 4s are very precise and analytical. They will appreciate having a plan and staying on schedule. Facts, data, and a logical approach will be very important to them. They will want to get it right the first time. Scale 4s have a need to be factual and correct, and they want to understand what is expected of them. Research suggests that it is becoming increasingly difficult to build new talents and skills, competencies and capabilities that are necessary to generate profitable growth, and there is a call for senior learning executives to rethink how they address the core challenge of growth. In an era of unforgiving competitors and increasingly demanding customers, clients, and patients, organizations are facing the challenge of identifying what is necessary to enable frontline employees, whether they are in sales, marketing, service, or another interconnected role, to perform at much higher levels. In today's knowledge-based organization, it is now being recognized that customer-facing professionals must be able to collaborate among themselves and with other members of the organization in order to make high-value decisions involving multiple decision-makers from various disciplines with a clear-eyed assessment of operational risks, organizational changes, and financial impact. This knowledge society phenomena is not something new for our complex public healthcare industry, since much of what is challenging knowledge-based organizations today has always existed to some extent in modern healthcare. Research continues to reveal that all knowledge-based organizations, healthcare included, increasingly depend on the skill of collaboration, which is not so much a skill as it is a culture of listening, questioning, interviewing, relating, writing, negotiating, analyzing, and managing time. A culture that is continuous and dynamic in its ability to learn and create value. Knowledge organizations today are increasingly identifying cross-functional dysfunction as a barrier to learning and growth. The growth imperative today is much different than that of the past, because today growth is heavily dependent on an organization's ability to collaborate and learn. A good analogy is that the traditional model for growth operated something like you invent, you build, you sell. In today's world, we must embrace a new model. You go out and you listen. You collaborate and solve. And you craft. In this fast-changing world, a collaborative learning organization is needed to stay ahead of the pack. Collaborative learning can help corporations outperform during economic downturns by keeping open connections within the organization, among employees, and even to its external environment. Collaborative learning, at the very least, is important for continuous improvement and capability enhancement through interaction with different levels of employees, teams, and sharing knowledge with others. A knowledge-based economy relies primarily on the use of ideas rather than physical abilities, and on the application of technology rather than the transformation of raw materials or the exploitation of cheap labor. Knowledge is being developed and applied in new ways. Product cycles are shorter and the need for innovation greater. Trade is expanding worldwide, increasing competitive demands on producers. Small and medium-sized enterprises in the service sector have become increasingly important players in terms of both economic growth and employment. Knowledge networks and sharing of information have expedited innovation and adaptation capacity. The global knowledge economy is transforming the demands of the labor market in economies throughout the world. It is also placing new demands on citizens who need more skills and knowledge to be able to function in their day-to-day lives. Today's world needs a new type of learning, a learning that emphasizes creating, applying, analyzing, and synthesizing knowledge and engaging in collaborative learning throughout the lifespan. In the knowledge-based organization, change is so rapid that skills depreciate much more rapidly than they once did. To compete effectively in this constantly changing environment, workers need to be able to upgrade their skills and acquire new skills on a continuous basis. Learning is becoming more collaborative and necessary for creating social capital. Functioning in socially diverse groups is an important competency, being able to interact effectively with other people from different backgrounds. Recognizing the social embeddedness of individuals and being able to relate well to others, cooperate and manage and resolve conflict, as well as cope with risk and change. Effective leadership must be supportive and shared. It must reflect shared values and vision. It must promote collaborative learning within the organization and incentives to use that learning to improve performance, create supportive conditions, and provide opportunities for peer review and feedback. Henry Ford, so many years ago, said, "Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 80 or 20. The greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young." Today, it's not an option. Continuous learning is a must.
In today's world of organizations comprised primarily of knowledge workers, there is a real desire for authentic leadership. Being an authentic leader means we must understand how we relate to others and then learn to adjust our behavior accordingly to deal with others in a positive manner. Authentic leadership also means we must understand what upsets us and then work to improve our self-control. Most importantly, we must understand that we may not be objective when we think about ourselves. How others actually see us can be quite different from what we think they see. Leadership talent is fast becoming a premium commodity on a global scale. This trend is driven in part by North American and European demographic shifts, where the executive age population nears retirement. Meanwhile, in India and China, the market for executive leadership is growing faster than their business schools can graduate suitable candidates. In addition, the current global economic conditions place huge restraints on companies, both in terms of financial investment in leadership development and in terms of the time investment necessary to personally mentor the next generation of leaders. Self-coaching is taking control of our own actions through targeted, conscious planning and thought to create the results we want. It is a process-based, steady progression focusing on our goals and our individual situation to create an environment of learning about ourselves. Self-coaching is a self-directed process drawing upon the tools and concepts from executive coaching, social psychology, neuroscience, and other disciplines. It can be of use whether we are currently working with a coach, have worked with a coach in the past, or if we may never have the opportunity to work directly with a coach. Effective self-coaching is the key to meaningful growth and development. The latest research in the neurosciences is proving that anyone can acquire first-rate skills simply through deliberate, intense practice and training using our innate cognitive capacity for constructing visual and emotional maps aimed at purposefully creating our chosen zone of excellence. Dr. Joseph J. Luciani has brought the idea of self-coaching to a whole new level with his book, The Power of Self-Coaching, The 5 Essential Steps to Creating the Life You Want. As a psychologist, Dr. Luciani encourages us not to subscribe to panic, anxiety, and depression as a mental illness, but instead to understand them as habits to be dealt with and broken. According to Dr. Luciani, happiness is our natural state, and chronic unhappiness is nothing more than a bad habit waiting to be broken. He breaks self-coaching down to 5 essential steps. First, we need to chart our thinking weaknesses, those automatic thoughts that hammer us with doubts, fears, and worries, creating guilt trips, doubting, name-calling, not caring, hostility, lying, manipulating, and doom and gloom thinking. Second, we must deal only with the facts. Don't get caught up in the what-ifs. Third, stop listening to the noise. Don't listen to the insecure and negative thoughts that sometimes nag at us. Fourth, let go. Just let it go. Turn away from the negative line of thinking. Let those thoughts move right through you. And finally, motivate yourself. We live in a world of constant chaos and change. We can choose to embrace it or to become victim to it. It is now time for a personal check-in. This means that it's a time to be mindful, a time to pause and ask yourself questions. For the remaining sessions of the Positive Presence Behavior Competencies of Influential Leadership, we will be accompanying your personal check-ins with brainwave music. You will remember that brainwave music has been proven to move a person into a more positive mental and emotional attitude. The clip that you are hearing is typical of the theta brainwave state, which has proven benefits such as deeper connection to one's emotions, increased intuition, greater levels of energy and relaxation, enhanced self-awareness, and a greater ability to enter into a highly focused, effortless learning state. So please, close your eyes and take a deep, deep breath and repeat with me, either silently or aloud. What sort of feelings have I had since my last check-in? And count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What have my thought patterns been like since my last check-in? And count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. What have my behavior patterns been like since my last check-in? And count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And open your eyes. A personal check-in is also a good opportunity for you to do a physical body scan. You've been sitting for a while now, and you will need to stretch your muscles. So either sitting or standing, make a conscious effort to bring your body to a state of relaxed anticipation. Beginning at the top of your head, as you slowly breathe in and then out, I want you to first consciously acknowledge your scalp, and then focus on relaxing your scalp. Next, consciously acknowledge your face, and then focus on relaxing your face. Now,
your arms, and your hands. Gently shake them out. Now your chest, your abdomen, your hips, your legs, and your feet. Wiggle your toes and stretch it out. And count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, if you're standing, please take a seat. And again, please close your eyes. This time, I would ask you to repeat after me either silently or aloud. Please allow my mind to be open and accepting of all information coming to me, that I may think upon it in the days to come. And now open your eyes. As an influential leader, you resolve problems, create opportunities, and manage events with a positive response to create the most optimal outcome out of the most difficult challenges. Adversity is an inevitable part of life. No one wants it, but everyone experiences it. Worry is one of the self-limiting thought habits that arises during times of adversity. In fact, I'm sure that every single one of you have experienced thoughts of worry at some point in your life. Science has actually proven, however, that when thoughts of worry become habitual, for some people even chronic, it is likely to result in impaired mental, physical, and emotional health. So, remember the mantra, it is what it is. Now what? This mantra is one way of acknowledging your worry. Then set it aside until such time that you are ready to create a positive response to it for the most optimal outcome. When worry is removed, not only do you protect yourself from potential harm to your personal health, your higher level brain function can engage, and you will be amazed by how much you can retain and retrieve. The best way to combat habitual or chronic worry is to replace those thoughts with thoughts and feelings of gratefulness. Because when your brain is activated for gratefulness, it uses its positive pathways and shuts down the negative pathways of worry. When you don't use them, you lose them, fits here because the less often the negative pathways are used, the weaker they become and they lose their habitual nature. When you activate your brain for gratefulness, it uses its positive pathways, the pathways that are feelings of love and peace, the feeling of being blessed that brings with it an understanding that you are good, you are great, you are enough, right here, right now. So for the next couple of minutes, I would invite you to practice your own personal exercise of gratefulness as we just listen. So please close your eyes and take a deep, deep breath.
Welcome to the Mini-Med for Gratefulness. For the next couple of minutes, I invite you to sit comfortably, and for the next few minutes, just let your body, every muscle, completely relax any tension right now. And as you feel your body relaxing every muscle, just releasing any tension, you may also notice that your mind is relaxing as well. Just settling in to a deep feeling of calm, warm peacefulness. As you settle into this wonderful, peaceful state, let your mind show you images of those things you most deeply appreciate in your life. There's no need to make it happen. Just in your relaxed state, Invite your intuitive knowing to present images, memories, and thoughts of the events, circumstances, and people in your life for which you feel deep, deep gratitude and deep appreciation for. Just let these memories, these images show themselves in the screen of your mind. Each one, let yourself feel the emotion of deep, deep gratitude and of profound appreciation for this person or this situation. When your body, mind, and soul unite as one in deep gratitude for these amazing, amazing people and things in your life, and as you let your body take one last deep, deep breath in, anchor in this emotion of gratitude physically and emotionally so that you can come back and reconnect to it whenever you feel drawn to it.
Come back to awareness. Notice your surroundings. What do you see? Is there anyone beside you? What sounds do you hear? We are now going to take time for reflection. This reflection time is referred to as table time because this exercise is created to be shared with a discussion group of your peers. Feel free to gather around a table with your colleagues or head over to Corporate Harmony's virtual discussion group. This is also a time to stay focused on task. Be present in the moment, right here. You will see notes pages at the end of the manual section for personal use in gathering insights and questions as you move through the material. So take time to put pen to paper. There are never any wrong or bad answers. Seeing your words on paper allows your brain to open up to even greater possibilities. Putting your thoughts and feelings to words on paper opens your mind to your inner wisdom and greatness. Enjoy this time and share your insights with the discussion group.
You will find this slide at the bottom of page 17 of Chapter 8 in your manual. Next session, we will be looking at the second principle in the operational behavior domain of connection, manage your priorities and pay off events, and a wee bit about the power of gratitude.
So, until then, live each moment of each day with harmony and purpose, and allow your grandest dreams to come true.